International business is a high-stakes game, where every move is scrutinized and every handshake can change the fate of entire industries. In this world, fortunes are made and lost in a single decision, and the ripple effects can be felt across continents. Recently, China abruptly blocked a billion-dollar deal with a major European automotive giant, stunning boardrooms from Berlin to Beijing and leaving executives scrambling for answers. This wasn't just another failed transaction. It was a clear signal that the rules of global commerce are changing and that old assumptions can no longer be trusted. The deal would have deepened ties between Europe's auto industry and China's booming market, opening doors for innovation and collaboration. But Beijing's move sent shockwaves through the global economy, raising questions about what comes next. China's message was unmistakable. National interests now trump simple commercial gain, and strategic priorities are taking center stage. For years, global trade seemed destined for ever greater integration, with borders fading and partnerships flourishing. This event challenges that belief, forcing companies and governments alike to rethink their strategies and expectations. Is this a one-off, or the start of a new era where politics and protectionism shape the flow of capital and innovation? The world is left wondering if this is the beginning of a broader shift. China, once known as the world's factory, is now a tech powerhouse, especially in electric vehicles, where it leads in both production and innovation. It no longer sees itself as a junior partner to the West, but as a leader and gatekeeper of its own market, setting its own terms and priorities. Access to China's 1.4 billion consumers is no longer a given. It's a privilege, with new conditions set by Beijing. Companies must now navigate a more complex and demanding landscape. This move is about more than cars. It's about the future of technology, supply chain security, and globalization itself. The stakes have never been higher. How Europe and others respond will shape international relations for years to come, influencing everything from trade agreements to diplomatic alliances. The world is watching, because the old ways of doing business are over. Uncertainty and caution now define the global marketplace. A more assertive China is now setting the terms for the future, confident in its power and influence on the world stage. The global business landscape just got a lot more complicated, and everyone, from CEOs to policymakers, must adapt to this new reality. To understand China's move, we need to look at its auto industry's meteoric rise. Just decades ago, cars were rare in China. Foreign brands entered a market eager for mobility but lacking manufacturing know-how. Joint ventures forced foreign automakers to share technology, helping China build its own industry from scratch. Brands like BYD and Geely learned fast, but the real leap came with electric vehicles. While Western firms clung to gas engines, China poured billions into EVs, subsidies, R&D, and charging networks. Free from legacy tech, Chinese companies innovated rapidly, especially in batteries. Now, China is the world's largest car market and EV producer, exporting advanced vehicles globally. Chinese brands are no longer students, they're teachers and fierce competitors. This transformation is the backdrop for the blocked deal. China is protecting its new status as a global automotive leader. For years, Europe and China's auto trade was a win-win, built on mutual trust and shared economic interests. European luxury brands thrived in China, capturing the imagination of Chinese consumers, while Chinese parts powered European factories, making production more efficient and affordable. This deep interdependence lowered costs, increased innovation, and fueled growth on both sides of the trade relationship. But the rapid rise of Chinese electric vehicles has flipped the script, changing the balance of power in the global auto industry. Now, Chinese brands like BYD and NIO are entering Europe in force, offering high-tech, affordable cars that appeal to a new generation of European drivers. European automakers, once dominant in China and confident at home, now face tough competition on their own turf, forcing them to rethink their strategies. This dramatic shift has sparked growing concerns in Brussels about unfair competition, job losses, and the long-term future of Europe's auto industry. The old model, Europe selling finished cars, China supplying parts, has faded away, replaced by a new era of rivalry. China now exports high-value, technologically advanced cars, directly challenging Europe's most established automotive champions. Policymakers are urgently considering tariffs, regulations, and other measures to protect local industry and maintain Europe's competitive edge. Every deal and policy decision is now fraught with new sensitivities, as both sides navigate an increasingly complex landscape. The trade relationship is no longer just about mutual benefit. It's about direct competition for technological leadership, innovation, and market share. The stakes have never been higher, and the outcome will shape the future of the global auto industry for years to come. Let's break down the deal itself. A top European supplier, Eurodrive, planned to sell $1 billion division, packed with advanced vehicle control and autonomous driving tech, to China's China Autotech. This wasn't just a factory sale, it was a transfer of patents, IP, and expert engineers. For China Autotech, it was a shortcut to leapfrog years of R&D and dominate the smart car market. For Eurodrive, it meant a cash infusion to fund future innovation. Both sides saw it as a landmark partnership. But the deal needed regulatory approval, and while Europe was still reviewing, Beijing stepped in and blocked it. The official reason? Market concentration. The real reasons ran much deeper. The real motive behind China's veto is strategic, not just regulatory. China's Made in China 2025 plan aims for tech self-sufficiency and global leadership in high-tech industries. Buying foreign tech undermines this goal. Beijing wants domestic firms to innovate, not just acquire. The tech in question also has potential military uses, making national security a top concern. There's also reciprocity. As the West blocks Chinese acquisitions, China is flexing its own regulatory muscle. The message to Chinese firms: instant R&D, don't take shortcuts. By blocking the deal, China is forcing its companies to build world-class tech at home. It's a bold, long-term play for independence and global influence. The fallout is immediate and far-reaching, sending shockwaves through boardrooms and financial markets across both Europe and China. For Europe, the blocked deal injects a new level of uncertainty. No deal is safe from political intervention, and the rules of global business suddenly seem less predictable. Companies will be more cautious about investing in China, especially in sensitive tech sectors, as the risk of sudden policy changes looms larger than ever. For China, the move asserts control and pushes domestic innovation, but it also risks scaring off foreign investors who are vital for growth and technology transfer. If global firms see China as unpredictable or too risky, they may shift investments to other markets, seeking stability and clearer rules. This could accelerate the trend of de-risking, diversifying supply chains away from China to reduce exposure to future shocks and disruptions. European automakers may rethink sourcing and production, leading to higher costs, less efficiency, and potentially slower innovation as they adapt to new realities. Trade tensions are likely to rise, with Europe considering tariffs and China potentially retaliating, making cross-border business even more challenging. The risk is a cycle of protectionism that hurts both economies, creating a domino effect that could impact jobs, growth, and consumer choice. The global auto industry could become more fragmented, less efficient, and more expensive for consumers as companies pass on higher costs. The era of seamless global integration is under threat as barriers rise and international cooperation becomes more difficult. The stakes go far beyond a single deal. What happens next could reshape the future of global trade and industry for years to come. China's decision is a turning point for global business. It signals the end of an era where business and politics were kept separate. National strategy and security now outweigh pure commercial logic. Companies must adapt to a world where access to China is a privilege, not a right. Boardrooms need geopolitical savvy as much as business acumen. The global auto industry may split into separate ecosystems, one led by China, one by the West. Consumers could face higher prices and fewer choices as integration unravels. The new reality, economic interdependence, is no longer a guarantee of cooperation. Navigating these new rules will be the defining challenge for global business. The game has changed, and everyone must learn to play by new rules.